Hello. I wanted to try making a video about the second shooter theory because I've noticed quite a lot of people seem to be getting on board with it, and I'm not really. I don't think it's likely. So I wanted to kind of challenge anyone out there who's getting on board with the second shooter theory and offer my objections why I don't think it's likely. I mean, it could be, but I'm not on board with it at the moment. It seems to be mostly originating from this chap, Chris Martinson from Peak Prosperity, who I like. I've been following for a while, but I don't think I share his view on this one. The second shooter theory. So it mainly began with this video here, where the first 3 shots sound very different to the next 5. I think people are picking up on that. So have a listen. The first 3 sound very muffled, the next 5 very bright. And my main explanation would be that she has just turned the camera. Chris Martinson thinks that's not the answer. I do still think that's the answer. That's the main answer. I tested it with my own camera earlier. I was just making bangs on my desk and then moving the camera around. And it does make a difference. And there's another video I can show that kind of shows this. Listen to this. So this guy's in the same position the whole time, but he just moves his camera all over the place. And listen to how different the shots sound depending on where his position of camera is.
20 million people want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
The first one's very loud, big thud, and then he's pointing it towards where the shots are coming from, and then he moves the camera, goes down, and they start sounding like twigs. Then at the end, he goes back up again, points it towards where the shots come from, and you hear another big loud thud again. See if we can have a look.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Thud at the end again. It's quite hard to kind of pin down exactly what's going on there because there's a lot of stuff going on in mobile phone technology, I think, which makes audio from mobile phones quite flimsy evidence, I think. But so I think there is some of that going on. And then another argument is that, because one of the things Chris Martinson was saying was that it's not about the fact that she changes direction, or it's that they're this side of that building, and because they're this side of this building, that's why maybe the shots coming from inside the building might be muffled, whereas the other ones are on top of the building, they're brighter. But then there's another video here where they're from that side of the building, and the shots all sound the same, I think. So have a listen to this. They all sound the same to me. I'm just going to turn my volume down just in case it's affecting things. Yeah, they all sound the same to me. Have another listen to this. So you'd have to explain why those ones don't sound the same if the camera person is this side of that building as well again. And generally, I just think mobile phone technology, using that as evidence, it just feels kind of flawed to me because, firstly, mobile phones, they use codecs they use compression software, so it's not lossless, it's lossy, or something like that. I'm not an expert, but this is kind of what I figured, and then I've kind of done a little bit of research. But it's codec software, and they use algorithms, and it's getting rid of all the frequencies and all the noise that they don't think we need to hear, and so it's getting rid of stuff. It's getting rid of high end and low end stuff. So you've got that going on. There's also competition for frequencies going on. When you've got a lot of loud noises, you've got screams, you've got background noises, stuff going on. Sometimes things can get muffled like that. Like I've spent most of my life making music is my main thing, and when I'm making music, if I pack a frequency too much with too many sounds, it makes all the sounds in that frequency very muddy and unclear. You can't hear them. If I want to make the sounds clear, I have to kind of put each sound in its own frequency band so you can it clarifies it all. And with the audio recording on these mobile phones, if you've got lots of background noise, people screaming and shouting and stuff, and they all kind of overlap, gunshots and all kinds of stuff overlapping each other, they're going to make things muddy, and so that's going to muddy the waters a bit as well. And then also Chris Martenson alluded to this in later in the video, that phones also have like auto adjustment technology, where if you hear a very loud noise, sometimes the phone will have a loud hiss, then a loud noise comes along, and then the hiss goes very quiet because the phone is kind of adjusting to this new loud noise. And it's a little bit like when you film a sunset in a video, and the screen flares up really bright, and then the auto adjustment technology in the camera kind of auto adjusts, and now the levels become normalized again. And I suspect some of that's going on with mobile phone technology as well. So you've got a lot of this going on, and then shots and echoes and stuff overlapping too. It's difficult to be accurate with a lot of this stuff. So that would be my objection and warning for using some of this data. I mean, one of them, he said the first shot sounded quieter than the rest, but again, that could just be the phone just chopping off that high end. It could be a scream or something in the background and it gets a bit muddied. You can't really read too much into that, I don't think. I just think it's just the phone technology. And so I look at this whole situation, I just Occam's razor, zoom out a bit and just think of the big picture. The big picture is that you got a kid on the roof with a rifle. The police body cam footage, they found 8 shells. Of course, it could be conspiracy theory, but this is the obvious Occam's razor. You've got all these shots coming, and I did a video yesterday, and all the shots seem to line up, and some of the shots you've got 2 points on the shot. The first one, Trump's ear and the railing, that's 2 lines. So you can just draw a line from those places, and from a bird's eye view, it goes right to Crooks. I think from a profile view, it goes to Crooks as well. The next, but that's a little bit, you need more accurate measurement. But the next one, second bullet, you got it. The photo of it going past Trump's ear, and you got it hitting David Dutch, so that's another line, and that goes straight to Crooks as well. The fourth and the fifth hit Corey Comparator and James Copenhaver. So if you presume that they're from the same shooter, because they both sound the same, comes a lot faster. That draws a line between those two straight to Crooks. So all the lines, and then there's the hydraulic line one, and that if you just draw that to Crooks, it looks like it's on the same line of sight. It might not be, but probably is. So it's all looking like it's going to Crooks. The profile view, again, the ground actually goes up from the building. It goes uphill a little bit there. So the idea of it should be going downhill or uphill and all this kind of stuff. I don't think you should read too much into that. It does seem to line up, and the kind of the middle of the left bleachers seems to align with the top of the right bleachers. Potentially, it looks a little bit like that. So I don't think it looks like the lines line up to me, and that's Occam's razor. And then also, so you have to explain that it can't be coming from any of these other rooms. The only ones it could be is these two. If you want it, this kind of rules out the water tower for me and all this kind of other stuff. Unless you want to say that shots 1, 2, 4, and 5 came from Crooks, but 3, 7, and 8, and whatever 6 came from somebody else. But then, why would you think that? And if there's a second shooter, presumably the second shooter is the pro. So why would all the shots that miss be the ones that the pro shot? So it doesn't really make sense. And this is where I kind of get there's a load of logic that it doesn't add up. The second shooter theory doesn't add up. So, I mean, firstly, Chris Martenson was talking about so the video where he's got the 3 muffled and the 5 bright. The theory is that the muffled ones are coming from that's the pro, the second shooter, and then the 5 are Crooks. But then he has another theory where the shots of the 5 are too fast. And so which it says, though, that's the pro, and then the Crooks are the first 3. So which is it? Because they both contradict each other, or are you just leaving them both open? So you've got both options, or is it a mix? Because some people are saying, oh, well, maybe shots 3 are somebody else, and shots. But again, that makes it's not Occam's razor. Doesn't make sense to me that they would do that. And if you do mix it up and say, oh, Crooks shot this one and the other second shooter shot that one, firstly, the second shooter presumably is the pro, but he missed as well, which is, that seems unlikely. And then secondly, you must be assuming that they're in cahoots with each other, the pro and Crooks. But if they're in cahoots with each other, doesn't the patsy normally not know that he's a patsy? Isn't that, why would he agree to be the patsy? There's something illogical about that. So, yeah, because that's the other objection. So, does Crooks and the second shooter know each other, or do they not know each other? Because usually if you have a patsy, my assumption is that the patsy doesn't know he or she's a patsy. And so if Crooks doesn't know about this second shooter, then wouldn't there be more surprise? Wouldn't you kind of feel like he's there, and then if the other guy, the second shooter, fires the first 3 shots, Crooks is sitting there. There's this video of him. He doesn't seem that surprised. It's only a short video, but he doesn't like think what the hell's going on. You'd think if he's sitting there and suddenly 3 shots come from somewhere else and he doesn't know about them, there'd be a bit more surprise there. And why would he just suddenly shoot 5 afterwards? I mean, it's possible, but it seems more like he would just stop and think, what's going on? This isn't right. There'd be more surprise there. And if it's the other way round and he shot the first 3 and then somebody else shot the other 5, you might think there'd be more surprise there as well. Pardon me. If the other one shot the 5 though as well, that doesn't make sense with the muffled theory of the first 3 sounding more muffled. So you get some kind of contradictions there. And if they do know each other, again, so why would he agree to be a patsy? That sounds kind of, why would he do that? Why wouldn't he just do it on his own? And then secondly, again, the pro missed. That doesn't make sense. And what's the other thing? The other thing is as well is that if they're in cahoots, they're risking shooting over each other. Like, what if they had fired a shot that at the same time? How would they arrange that? Because if they did, that would give the game away. If you got 2 shots that come and the sound is just inhuman, you couldn't shoot it from one gun at that speed. They would be at risk of doing that as well. So it just feels like the second shooter theory just has so many complications to it. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, doesn't make sense. So I think that's where I'm at the moment. And then the only other thing that some people say is like the witness testimony as well. What about the witness testimony? But I think that's fallible as well. There's a couple of people who have I think have lied a bit. This guy called Joseph Mine. Again, I don't want to be mean, but I think I spotted him lying. He said he was next to Corey Comparator and he helped carry him out. And in the videos, it looks like he just turns up at the end and kind of follows all the other workers as they go out. He doesn't really help carrying them out. I'm not sure you can trust everything he says. There's been a couple of other lies I've spotted as well. And also, this is going to sound unfair to say, but I think there could be a certain personality type of people that attend Trump rallies, which is the type that are going to behave more certain about things that they really should be. Because like that's what Trump's like. Everything is like he's absolutely 100% this, 100% that, very, very sure of things that he probably shouldn't be so sure about. And I've noticed that in some of the witness testimonies, they're like, oh, there was definitely somebody in the water tower and there was definitely somebody over there. And I think a lot of that could just be, I mean, partly, yeah, that personality trait of somebody who goes to a Trump rally, but also I think there's a lot of Chinese whispers going on as well. Like in the event, it happens very quickly. You can hear some people, you ask them how many bullets there are, and they've got all kinds of different ranges of people saying, oh, I counted 4, I counted 7, I counted this, that, or the other. People don't really know. And there'll be Chinese whispers where people just kind of vaguely heard sounds, and then they say, they start talking to each other afterwards. And one person says, oh, I think it came from the roof. Another person says, I think it came from the water tower. Then the next person says, oh, I think there was 2, one in the water tower, one in the on the roof. And then all of a sudden somebody is saying there's definitely somebody in the water tower, definitely somebody. They've got this story they've built up. I've seen psychological studies on this as well, where people kind of can, your memories can fool you sometimes, and people make up stuff sometimes. So I just think witness testimony is fallible as well. And I just think the Occam's razor evidence is the strongest. I've lost the picture now, but the one I had with all the bullets lining up, that seems to be the Occam's razor of this. So yeah, that's all I want to say for now. So I'll leave it there. Okay, bye bye.